this week's Tech Talk, we are kicking off now, and we are looking at everything AI related to HubSpot. There's been, HubSpot's obviously put a lot of effort into being one of the premium sort of AI providers with CRM over the last 12 months. There's a few big announcements that they brought forward even in the last couple of weeks, and they've sort of updated a few of their features. And I actually did a tech talk on some of this stuff before, but even again, they've updated some other stuff and some really cool things in there. So I'm going to look at buyer's intent and data enrichment within HubSpot. And why that's relevant, especially, is because HubSpot did just announce that previously it was, you have to pay additional amounts of money to get into, data enrichment and using some of those features. But now every HubSpot account comes with credits for data enrichment. So you can now use a lot of the AI features within HubSpot without having to pay for it, unless you obviously go over that limit. But that includes data enrichment, includes using AI and workflows, and a few other things. So we're going to touch on buyer's intent and how you can identify and target, potential customers. It's an awesome tool for outreach. We're going to look at AI workflows and how we can manage, set some of those up in your business so you can start streamlining some things. Again, like a lot of the workflow stuff is still fairly basic, but it's part of it, like a broader commitment from HubSpot to, really lean into the AI. And probably the biggest announcement, and the one I know that HubSpot is most proud of, is they are the first CRM to create a native integration with ChatGPT. It's not what you think where, it means that you can automate everything. Basically what it does is it links in with with ChatGPT's deep research tool. And so we'll go through that, how you set it up, what it can do, and how you can utilize it. So as always, I'll go through those things. I'll do some demos. And then at the end, if you've got any questions about AI, HubSpot, or anything else related to tech, happy to take those questions. So we're going to dive in. So what I'm going to do is share my screen. And where is it? Here we go. So we're going to look at the first one, which is the deep research integration with HubSpot, which I know is the first of its kind with the CRM. It's the first time that ChatGPT is integrated directly with a CRM like this. Now, first off, what is deep research? Has anyone played around with the deep research tool in HubSpot before? Does anyone know what it is? Sort of familiar-ish or pretty fresh? All pretty fresh? Yeah, cool. Basically what deep research is, it is like a business consultant, a Harvard MBA, an expert in the industry built into ChatGPT. Basically what deep research does, it takes your existing data, it analyzes it, and it will then provide you with recommendations based on that. It's like having, one of the big four consultants at your fingertips. It is actually insane. It's basically ChatGPT on steroids. Now, what that means is once you connect the deep research tool to one of your platforms, HubSpot, ChatGPT will have access to crawl all your data and then analyze that data and then make recommendations around it. So, there's obviously a couple of considerations there. Number one, you are giving ChatGPT your data to do that. So that is a big concern for some people. Me personally, I don't care. I'm not that worried. But, there is, to be honest, I don't have the answers for what security they have for it. They do say that everything's fine and that they don't share the information. We've seen before with people like Facebook and other companies who say stuff like that, and they're sharing everything around anyway. So, I would say if you do want to play around with this, just be aware. There may be some risks. Like I said, it doesn't bother me. I don't see anything of great importance or great risk for our business. But, if you do have sensitive information, you might want to be careful about that. Number one, you do need a paid ChatGPT account for this. That's probably the only thing. $20 a month, in the end, if you're interested in AI, you're playing around with AI and you're just on the free version, understand it, it's another subscription. But for me, $20 a month for the AI, I think it's the pro level. And it's just basically the next one up. It'll give you that access. It's also really handy because that will also then obviously not give you limitations when you're chatting to ChatGPT. We've probably all had it before where you've maxed out your allocation for the day. It'll also allow you to then, I'll jump to you in a sec, John. It'll also allow you to then link in and use the API of OpenAI. So you can then integrate that with other platforms. Did you have a question, John?
Yeah, mate. What are your thoughts on the $200 a month subscription? Like, I've had some people say like it's again worth it.
Yeah, look, to be honest, I haven't needed it. For me, it just depends like what you want to do with it. Like, what benefit did you see? Is that's the team subscription, is it? Or is that what's the next one up?
It's still an individual subscription, but it's $200. Apparently, it's more powerful.
Yeah, I had a look at it a while back. I might just jump in and refresh my memory so I can see. Yeah, I think that gives you the different models. And like you do get quite a few different models within ChatGPT, and that is something you could probably just do a tech talk on alone, because I know a lot of people, get confused around what all these models are, but you still do get a lot of these models. I believe that gives you enhanced models, which can be quite helpful. Yeah, it gives you a bit more around. Yeah, it's just maybe extended access. To be honest, I don't have it. I've never needed it. I've never seen an issue with ChatGPT, and I sort of feel like, over time, people were moving towards other platforms. I think ChatGPT is just that linchpin. Like, I don't know, everyone keeps coming back to it. Claude was sort of out in front for a while. I think a lot of people are sort of thinking that ChatGPT is back there with a lot of the advancements, but in the end, to be honest, like with anything, like with CRMs, like with accounting software, like with proposal software, there's going to be a lot of them. There's always going to be different things. Like, as an example, I signed up for Jasper, a couple of weeks ago. I just canceled that subscription because I found it was really good, and that's really based around content. But I found like I could get similar stuff from ChatGPT and Claude, and I didn't want to have multiple subscriptions because I don't feel like I need it. So it's one of those things, much for muchness. If there is something that you feel like you're not getting from this, then yeah, you could upgrade. But me personally, I haven't seen a need. I've never had a point where I'm like, oh shit, I need more. But I'm sure there's definitely some features. I've never upgraded to it as well. So yeah, deep research tool. Basically, yeah, you need the paid subscription. To connect it is about as easy as it could be. I've already got it connected, but what you do is you literally open it up. You do it in ChatGPT. Down the bottom, you'll see tools. Oops, I'm just going to move the screen. You've got the run deep research. And then when it says sources, all you need to do is go to your sources, click connect more, and then find HubSpot. Click connect. It'll ask you for your credentials. You'll type them in. It'll take you to a page that'll say, do you accept this? You say yes. Has some terms and conditions if you want to read it. I obviously didn't read it. And then you can connect. And as you can see, you can connect a range of different other features. You can connect your Drive. You can connect HubSpot. You can connect your email. Because what this will do is, and it actually is such a cool tool, it'll allow you to then ask it questions. I could be like, I can't find a document, or I need this information from my Google Drive. Can you please analyze it? Or can you find these things for me? Can you analyze all my emails and give me a summary of, action points? Like, there's just so many things that you can do with it. And prompting and the type of prompts you could use is definitely something that we'll look at. And, like anything, when you prompt, what's the best way to prompt? The best way to prompt is to ask the LLMs themselves and ask, what's the best way to get out of it? Hit that, do that, and you're done. So literally connect it. That's all it is. It's nothing crazy. You don't need a developer. You don't need anything other than, the ability to know your own login details. So it's super easy. Once you get into it, you're in the deep research tool. I ran this already because the deep research tool, because it does analyze data, can take a while. It's not quick. And it's not quick because it does go through so much data. So I ran this maybe half an hour before this meeting, and it probably took about 20 to 25 minutes to run. So I did a real basic prompt. I just wanted to analyze my sales process because I just wanted to make it simple, because I have seen some deep research take like an hour and a half. So I just kept it as a simple one because I didn't want it to take too long because I didn't do it early enough. And obviously the better you prompt it, and if I was doing this properly, I probably would have given it a proper prompt and gone through some things. So I gave it this really simple prompt just to analyze two of my sales pipelines. And then, ChatGPT came back and asked a couple of clarifying questions because I was pretty broad, that just did that by itself. It then, and I just said, yeah, right, recommendations, how to improve conversion rate, bottleneck, stage duration, just looking at HubSpot, not other platforms. So it analyzes, and then it'll come up here and you'll see a little like thinking bar, and it'll be like thinking, crawling through data. This bit on the side here is the activity. Oh yeah, question. Yeah, deep research is only available for the paid, so $20 a month, and you need that to be able to connect it as well. As you can go through here, you can see all the things that it was considering as it's going through this process. So checking data, searching every deal, like it literally is looking at every single deal in those pipelines, looking at the notes, looking at the times they spent in there. And I didn't actually look at the results here. Yeah, Glenn's good as well. Yeah. So yeah, I haven't actually had a look at this yet. So this has come down and it's given me an analysis of our offshore sales pipeline lead gen. And so it just goes through pipeline overview, gives us a generic thing, bottlenecks in lead gen pipeline, stalling at initial inquiry, lead gen pipeline shows a major bottleneck at the first stage. That's not great, obviously. Drop off call scheduling, lack of progression. So it's just basically giving us a bunch of issues as it sees. So, if you want a sales consultant to come in and do this stuff, you're probably going to be paying them 5, 10K to probably do a report up like this. And they're probably not going to be able to do it to this level because they're not going to go through every single deal and look at every single thing. You can see here, we've got stage duration, slow moving stages. There's basically so many actionable items. And so I can go through this and you can see the detail it's gone into. And obviously we're not going to go into everything, but no, if I want everyone to look under the hood of the business that much, because there'll probably be so many bad things there. But it basically gives you, what is it? Okay, so then it's got recommendations as well. And this is where, a lot of the time when you chat to ChatGPT and ask for recommendations, a lot of the time they're really token. What I found with this is these are real actionable recommendations that make so much sense and that you would pay good money for to understand how your business operates. Improve speed, yeah, so that's all basics, all straightforward. Streamline the recruitment process. As you can see, it's got a range of recommendations. Super cool. Like I said, there's a range of sources as well, so it's not just limited to HubSpot. And you can do that with any of the data that you have in HubSpot. So it's something that's just super powerful. Think of it as your own consultant on steroids. Like I said, there's a thing, I'll just go back to this. Like with anything as well, you can ask further follow-up questions. You can ask it to delve further into different aspects. And like what I would always do, if you are unsure how to start, just ask it. Please, I'll go out and deep research. Just can't spell, but you know what? It doesn't matter that I can't spell in ChatGPT either. This is why I love it, because it just knows what I'm saying. Obviously, again, you probably say the 10 best prompts, you probably get a bit more specific, but then it can come up with prompts. And I probably should have actually said for deep research as well, rather than generic. But, whenever you are using AI, like I said, the best way to utilize it is to use the prompts and use ChatGPT or whatever LLM you're using to be able to research it. Like I said, this is one of those things that it's not, when HubSpot announced, this massive AI integration, people might think one thing. This is probably definitely different to what they were thinking, but it doesn't mean it's any less cool and any less powerful. Because for us as business owners or working for small business, to be able to analyze this data at that level is impossible. Like, you're just not going to do it. You're not going to ever go through and look at every single deal. You may have some reports, but to be able to do that, analyze it, and actually provide a report like that is really invaluable. So, I think, how do you use this real time? I think probably the best way to do it is to look at a few prompts and areas of concern in the business, identify them, and then, work with ChatGPT to identify those prompts to ask that question, how you can fix it. So what I mean by that, if you're having issues with, lead gen, if you're having issues with your sales process or conversion, or you want to convert more, or operationally, you're not, tracking things well enough, identify that, create prompts, get it to spit something out and see what it says. I think you'll find that there'll be some pretty amazing insights there. Is there any questions about the deep research tool, use cases for it? all pretty straightforward. Who's going to go away and run it? Who's running it now? I'm sure John is.
I actually only heard about it for the first time yesterday, but it's funny how these things come up and you hear about it multiple times.
Oh,
So,
literally, they probably only launched it like a week or two ago. It's super fresh. I reckon like maybe 3 weeks ago, nothing longer than that.
Yeah.
All right. So that's one cool, amazing AI update. That pretty much everyone should be able to utilize. I'm going to go now to buyer's intent. Buyer's intent. All right. Who has seen buyer's intent? I did do a tech talk on this a while back, but who knows what buyer's intent is? Who's used it before? Who's opened it up?
It's like what Zoom Info do, and like we were looking at this about 12, 18 months ago, and they wanted to charge about 30 grand for it.
It's just like similar to Zoom Info. The big so people who don't know what Zoom Info is, it's basically similar to Apollo. It's similar to a few other platforms. It scrapes data through a range of different methods to identify contact details and contact information. This isn't exactly like that though, John, because it is a bit different. It's got two main elements to it. So number one, what buyer's intent does is it shows two things. It shows visitors to your website that didn't convert on forms. It doesn't show the contact though, it shows the company. So that is one thing just to understand. And then it also shows people who are researching terms related to your business core function, which I think is super powerful. So these are people who, I'm going to use the outsourcing arm of the business, who are actively researching outsourcing, and what that looks like, who knows? It could have been one or two people have searched a couple things and they may have done it for something else. But what it shows is this is basically what you use buyer's intent for in the simplest terms is a list of companies to cold call or reach out to who are cold or potentially cold, but you know that there's intent there because of these factors. So buyer's intent, what is it? So where is it? Marketing, buyer's intent, and this is available on all plans. There are different levels and different features that will be available with different plans. Got a few different tabs, but what do we look at here? We've got our visitors tab. This is super cool because this shows me companies that have been on my website. So, why is that important? Obviously, it's important because some of these companies have been on my website, and if they haven't submitted a form, then, I don't have their details. I don't know who they are. But this is a way that we can track and, go and follow these people up and maybe send them an email. Obviously, I'm no sales expert, for sure. So in terms of the best way to do the outreach, that'll be a different conversation. But, the ability to do outreach is there. And for teams, sales reps, marketers, this is such a more targeted method. So, let's have a look at it here. So what I've got is got my filters on the left-hand side. I can see in the last 30 days, these 117 companies entered my website. Now, there's probably more than that. There are some limitations of what they can see based on certain privacy and how they scrape data. But I can see these companies have been on my website. You can see it here. I've got intent and target market. So basically what I'll show you is how I can set intent criteria and target market criteria as well. And the little HubSpot icon means they already exist in HubSpot. Let's go to Row Consulting as an example. So I can see the 94 page views, which does seem a bit excessive. There will be instances where there could be some bots. HubSpot does try its best with most things, form submissions, email clicks, etc., to remove bot activity. But yeah, maybe these people just really like that website. So what I can do is I can open in LinkedIn or I can open and view activity. And what I can see is I can see the date and what pages they've visited. So I can see, they've gone through a lot of pages here. I can see about them, who they are, and I can even click on their website. Give me employee range, give me an industry, give me further details if they have it. And there's no contacts. So this is the big difference between Apollo and Zoom Info though, John, is that the HubSpot feature doesn't add contacts in. And there's no ability to do that. The way this was all set up is HubSpot actually acquired a data scraping company called Clearbit. And so that's how this function came to be. So what we've got here, a list of these companies. So how do I set it up? So, what I want to do is we want to have, so I'm going to filter this right now because, that's a pretty big list. And I want to see in my, actually I had it set already to my target market. So I can set a target market. So I could have accounting companies, real estate, small business, whatever I want. I'll show you how to set this up later because you can set it up by any industry. You can set it up by technology they use. You can set it up by revenue. You can set it up by employee size. So it's actually pretty crazy. So I've done that. But how do I set that up? So really all you need to do is you just come down, edit target markets. And this is just our configuration tab. So I was on the visitors tab before and it takes me here. So my target market, I've got it set as accounting companies in Australia, all Australian-based companies, real estate companies Australia, and small to medium business Australia. So let's say we want to add another industry type or even something a bit more specific. So I'm going to create a new market. What should I create? I don't know. What's an industry? Who wants me to create an industry for them? I don't know. Does anyone have a recommendation just to see so they can see sort of the data that they have in it?
So this would be, sorry, an industry who's looking at your website. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So this would be like a customer persona type thing, for the type of clients you want to sell to.
Okay, just do facilities management.
Facility services?
Yeah.
Australia, because we'll keep it to Australia. I can put in keywords. I can do employee range. So if you want to get really granular about it, you can also keep it open. I'm going to go down to company city. I'm sorry. I'm going to come down to company country and add in Australia. So they're Australian-based companies. And you can see there, 3,200. Like I said, you can, look at different technologies that they're using. If they're using ActiveCampaign, if they're using HubSpot. So this actually tells you that they're using those platforms. So, if you are a service provider, not that I know this isn't relevant for you, John, but you can do revenue. I find with the revenue one, even in Zoom Info and in Apollo, it's not always the best measurement because they don't always have that data available, especially small to medium-sized business. For the larger businesses, yeah. And so I just hit create. And you can see there I've got the different things. I do have apparently 14 facility services companies already in my CRM, which is cool. And so now I'll go back to buyer's intent. Oops, and I'll just change that. I don't know if I will have any facility services, but John, if you did this, you probably would. Okay, there we go. I got one. Happy days. Good for the demo. And I can see here that they've offshore talent. They read a blog of ours, so that might have been from LinkedIn or something like that. Now, say if I think this is an interesting company to target, what I can actually do is I can add to the CRM. Now, this will then take me to Breeze Intelligent Usage. So basically, the Breeze Intelligence is the data enrichment. And what that'll do is that'll allow me to add this as a company. Now, adding it as a company doesn't give me someone to email. It doesn't really give me that much, to be honest. But what it does is it creates the record. So I get a certain amount of credits. This gives me 10 credits to do it. And I still got, over 2,900 left. So I'm going to add that to my CRM and use the data enrichment there. And then now, oops. Now I can view this company and it's enriched the data where it can. It's added in the LinkedIn page. It's got a bit of stuff, not that much. There's definitely limitations with it. We don't have an email. We don't have anything else from there. But what we do have is the ability to then follow this person up. Because they've been on our website, they've shown intent, which, is something that's so important. And if we are looking at trying to cold call people. Why don't we cold call people that have at least know who we are? So we've got that there as the visitor side. So really powerful tool. You can set up notifications when visitors come, so people will get notifications. You can do other things like that as well. But now let's look at the research tool. So this is a new tool that's come out, that the visitors tab has been there for a while. The research tool, I think, is super interesting. Basically what this tool does is it shows us people who are showing intent around topics of our choosing. So again, research any topics. I'm going to just put in a bunch of offshore and virtual assistants related topics. You can see here while it thinks, 25,000 companies, that's worldwide. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to get our target market going a bit better. You know, we're targeting accounting at the moment, so let's have a look at that. All right, I can see 141 companies. Oops. I can see 141 companies that have researched that topic in some way. Now, what we can do, this is basically then a list of companies that could be done with cold outreach, that that they're potentially looking into your product. So incredibly powerful, incredibly strong tool for sales reps to use. Like I said, there are some manual steps that need to be required. We need to go to their website. We need to try to find the right person to contact. If you are using something like Apollo or you are using something like Zoom Info, you can use that to jump in and get those details readily available and find the right contact person. And obviously, to be able to use this, you probably need to really know who your ideal customer profile is, so you know the right person to target. But very strong tool. If I filter this instead by SMBs, oops. It'll go from 117 to 1,000 companies. That's a couple of weeks work of calls and follow up for a sales rep.
Matt, how do you do the target market? So I'm trying to add Melbourne as a target market as like a geographic.
Are you in what section are you in?
I was in, now it's gone to markets, but I was in buyer intent, and then let me just try to get back.
Yeah, so again, what you need to do to set that, you'd be on this page. And if you want it to be Melbourne, you wouldn't be visitors intent, it would be target markets, and you would go into manage markets. And then in this section, create new market. And then down where it says the state, you would go, you type in Victoria. Are you in that area?
I was, but it's looking a bit different. Do
you want to share your screen quickly and I can help you? Or?
Yep. Yeah, sure.
Stop sharing mine.
So research.
Yeah.
Target markets, add target market.
Yeah. And then manage markets. And then create new market.
So just call that Melbourne.
Yeah, maybe Melbourne facilities managers, just so it's clear. And go down. You might want to go to industry as well and set the industry as facilities managers.
I've set the topic as cleaning, so it could kind of be anyone in any sort of commercial operation. It doesn't really need to be industries.
Okay. Well, yeah, if it's anyone, it's just going to be Melbourne businesses. Then
yeah,
that'll be fine. Well, then go down to
company state.
Yeah, and like with this too, you might want to set maybe employee size as well. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, the state didn't save as well. And you can set multiple ones. You can pick more than 11.
Country first, I suppose.
Yeah.
That's not coming up.
Go down again. Click it. Maybe type it in full and see if you can hit enter.
Oh,
You
yeah.
got to create it. There you go. There we go. Almost 9,000. I probably wouldn't worry with revenue, but like you could come back. You can come back and edit this later as well. And then you just go create market.
Okay.
Yep.
So then if I go back to, where is it?
You can do buyer's intent just at the top in the top right. But yeah, if not, it's in marketing.
So under research.
Yeah, go research, but then we also want to go down and then we want to add in our search criteria. So where it says add visitor intent criteria, sorry, at the bottom left. See the blue, yeah, click that one. And then if you scroll down to research intent topics.
Yep.
Because yeah, if you click that, you already got cleaning. Okay, cool. Did you want to add more than cleaning? Like you put cleaning, facilities management, or just be cleaning?
Just cleaning's fine.
Okay, cool. Well, then yeah, you can go back. Sorry, I didn't realize you already put it in.
Back to research, is it?
Yeah. And then add your research topic at the top on the left-hand side. Oh, I think you already have it. Okay, yeah, I think you already put it in. Yeah, cleaning.
It's not really. It's not selecting it for some reason.
Oh, it might just be a little glitch. I found yeah, like you'll be able to click it. Maybe it just needs a second to catch up. It does say that you've already got the topic there. I don't know why it's already done that, but it looks like you've got the 282 topics that are researching it.
Yeah, okay.
Because you can see here too how it says cleaning and it's got the green little dot. That means that there's like high intent. Because you'll see some, if you scroll down further, that'll be like orange and yellow and red. And that means that lower intent and like a longer time frame of when they searched it. So like the green ones are generally where you start first.
These look like they're international ones though.
I think your topic, I don't think, you need to go down and put your target market in on the left-hand side.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like it's already got the Melbourne business one. All right, but no companies found, so bad example. But, with the visitor side, and I might take the share back if I can, John. So yeah, the other thing that you can do as well, like, if you are lucky and you're getting a lot of, visitors to your website, or so back to the visitor side as well. So that's the research side. The one thing I forgot to add was we've also got intent that you can add in. Where is it? And intent, what we've created here is just basically some pages show more intent than others. So obviously if they go to our home page and then they go to a pricing page, for example, that can show intent to purchase. And so that's a warmer lead. Obviously, if you're not getting that many people to your website, this doesn't matter as much. But you can basically add in and put in the pages that you want in here with your address. It doesn't need the full text. It's just the last little bit of the email that already has your domain. But basically that will then, allow you to see. So I can also see here as well where it shows, oops, let me go to this. It says here they've shown intent because they've been on certain pages, but there's other ones that have just been on more generic pages. And so I'm saying that doesn't show intent. Even though I could probably readjust some of these to be honest as well, because if they've gone on a range of different pages, that could be pretty handy. So look, there's a lot to unpack with this feature. Obviously the ideal solution would be to be able to have a contact and you could automate, some type of messaging. There are, ways you can do some of that stuff and automate some of that stuff. You could create, a list of these companies, then send that list to AI. AI could do some of that work for you, so you don't have to do it. But obviously that's getting a bit more complicated and probably like a chat for another day. But, there are ways that you can even automate some of this stuff further to then, send a personalized message and do some like automated outreach for BD work for people who are interested in your area. There are some platforms that do this, like I said before, with Apollo, Zoom Info, and, subscriptions for them range from, I think, like, for Apollo, $50 a month for really basic, up to 300 for probably what you would need. And then obviously Zoom Info is a lot more expensive than that, as John was aware of. So any questions just about buyer's intent and any of these features here? Because the last one that we're just going to look at is just some of the advancements with workflows. And again, as we move into this workflows automation, you'll need the ability to be able to send workflows from your platform. So that might exclude some users. So I'll pick my trigger first. I'm just going to do it really simple. Actually, I'll do something different. Where is it? Meeting booked. Meeting booked. So I'll just get my trigger down. And then you can see here we have a AI feature. So what this does is we can run enrichment, we can generate a selling profile, we can research company news, and we can summarize a record. So a couple of cool little features there. The data enrichment, which I showed you before, a lot of the time it's best used in workflows, but how you might want to set that up is you might manually want to create a workflow to enrich data for certain contacts every month, just so that it's up to date. We just did an example with a company, pretty niche, but they work with sports coaches, and sports coaches move around a lot. So they want to enrich that data so they don't have to manually keep updating it. Something to note about enrichment is there are still a couple of restrictions. They need like a footprint online first and foremost, because that's how the data is scraped. And it generally needs to be a business email. If they're on a personal email, most likely not going to be able to get the info they need. So there are restrictions there. It will, data enrichment, once you have a contact, it will update contact information, phone numbers, things like that. And it will do that through scraping websites, through scraping emails, through scraping a range of different sources. So it can be really handy for keeping things up to date. John, I imagine definitely you in your industry with facility managers moving around a lot. I know they jump ship and jump around. That could be something for you to have a little play around with as well. Generate selling profile, research company news, and summarize a record. I can click on this, and I can have additional follow-on actions to, send a summary of that record, before a meeting. I can't set it up to send it right before. We've actually played around with a couple of our own like integrations that will send you, like, take a summary of, you've got a sales meeting coming up, then 10 minutes beforehand, Slack will ping you a quick summary about the deal, about the company, and about some other pertinent information. You can sort of do that, but it doesn't allow you at the moment HubSpot to filter it and send it like 10 minutes before. It'll send you it when it's booked. There may be some workarounds for it. I haven't seen any yet, but I also haven't played around with this too hard, because when I tried to do it, I couldn't do it straight away. So to be honest, gave up. But yeah, really cool enhancements. So look, I think we covered a fair bit today. We looked at the new AI deep research integration. We looked at buyer's intent, both from visitors' intent and research intent. And then we've looked at AI workflows within HubSpot. This is all part of an effort that HubSpot has put towards focusing on AI and really sort of being an industry leader within the CRM industry. With adopting AI and bringing out like really cool AI products. And, I imagine in 6 months' time, 6 to 12 months' time, it'll be so much more enhanced. There'll be so many more features because they're just putting a lot of money into it. there any questions about anything that I've covered today? Anything that you wanted to clarification on?
I've got one, Matt.
Yeah.
You're speaking about with the deep research and getting it to kind of crawl data from HubSpot, kind of linked to that. So we've been building a lot of SOPs recently with AI, which has been amazing. Our next challenge is like putting it in some sort of a library where people can do like a search with AI and it will find the answer. I think we've kind of spoken about this a while ago about potential like sort of chatbot idea, potentially with like GPT. But is there anything in HubSpot? I don't know if HubSpot's the right platform for it, or are there any other platforms that you know of? I think I've heard of Notion, which might be similar.
Notion's handy, but HubSpot's got a feature just for that. But like it is probably more designed for like customers. So like number one, you could just put that in a custom GPT and upload all the SOPs into a custom GPT and give access to all your staff, and that could be an option. There definitely are other, like you said, Notion. There's another good one. HubSpot, the other AI feature, and I have done a tech talk on this as well, is the HubSpot agents. And I might do another one on this in a few weeks. But basically, this customer agent could be used in that manner. Again, it is more designed for client facing, because what you can do is you can add a range of different content into your knowledge base. So I was actually adjusting this the other day because I had to arrange more things in here. But I can put in my knowledge base, I can insert files. You could upload any SOPs. And then you could potentially just have your own staff landing page where this chatbot existed. I'd probably say, you should maybe put this on your website if you don't already, because what you can do is you can create it as customer support, marketing specialist, sales representative. And these are some new features. Originally, it was just only customer support. But you can create that and feed it with everything, all your information, around your business or around your SOPs, assign it to a page, track performance, and I'll even do things like tell you which questions it can't answer. And if you can't answer a question, you can just come in. You can even add content as just questions, like a short answer. Like if someone asks this question, this is the answer. So you can, like, when people talk about training the AI, this is training it here. And like the great thing is it'll identify the shortfalls. Again, this is included on any pro subscription in HubSpot. So you will have access to this. And I think I can't remember if it's credit based or not. I can't remember. I don't think it is, but really handy. Like I said, you could have this as a customer service agent. You could have this as a sales rep. We've done stuff before where, obviously put it on the website, but then also maybe when someone submits a form, direct them to a page that has the bot on there that tries to communicate with them. And seeing pretty like interesting results. It's still like raw coming through. You do need to like make sure you've got quite a bit of information in there to make it really clear how they need to communicate and what they need to do. But it does pick up a lot of information, even just from your website. So yeah,
sounds
I would
like
have
a more sort of customer facing.
It is,
bot.
yeah.
Could you use it like if we've got like an internal Google sites for like a intranet, for example, where we've stored all our SOPs and staff have access to that, but not like the public? Could you do it, link it to that, and then just have it specific for internal queries?
Yeah, you could, like I said, you could probably like create like your own landing page that all the staff have access to. Upload. You wouldn't upload it you wouldn't link the drive because it doesn't allow to integrate the drive. You would just upload the files to it, and then that way it would it would then communicate with them. If you wanted to use that, and then if you wanted to use that for customer facing, you could also like look at using ChatGPT, create a custom GPT, train it up, and then give your staff access to it so they can communicate with it as well, which would be a pretty easy option. Because like your custom GPT, you just create a prompt for it, upload all the files. It's going to have all that information, and then that would probably
be the easy way to do it.
Did I see,
How do-
is Nat
how
in here? Did I see Nat jump in? Because she might have some ideas around that as well. Oh, no, I don't think she's
What
in.
was the question?
We were just talking about John's basically created a bunch of SOPs and he wanted to create a like a custom GPT or a bot that his staff can talk to have questions answered for him. And he just thought, like, I showed this option here, but I think this is probably better for you. Only get one. The thing is, you only get one agent as well in HubSpot, so you might not want to waste it. You might want to use it. Recommended ChatGPT, creating a custom GPT and uploading that is really simple.
Yeah,
easy option. Do you have any other thoughts around that, Nat? Because I know you've probably done that stuff.
Yeah. So the question I'd have, what's the compliance around the data that the staff may be using in this sense?
What's the compliance around it? Like how sensitive it is, do you mean?
Yeah, how sensitive is it? And
not overly. Like, I mean, it's not the end of the world if it gets out. It's just our internal processes.
Yep. Okay. And then the next question is, the thing to be mindful is the inaccuracy of AI. So if it's got an SOP stored and it provides that SOP to the staff member asking for it, to be mindful, is it going to be accurate and is it going to impact the outcome for your staff and your business? So that's the only thing I would be mindful of in putting it into a custom GPT is how like the compliance and the true source of it. So I'd just be concerned about depending on what you're using for. If it's for basic things and it's got a structure, that's probably fine. And you could have an index on the side, like as a document, like these are the SOPs stored in here, maybe that could work. And you can instruct the custom GPT that it can only provide outputs based on the knowledge base you've built the GPT from. So that could be a way around it at a low cost.
And how do you give people access to that custom GPT? Like, how do you share that with like 100 people?
Yeah. So the way you can do it is have it as a public link, but not accessible in the GPT store. So obviously the caveat there is the protection of your data and SOPs there. If it's an open link and someone gets hold of it, what's the pros and cons of that? So I personally, for a lot of my clients now, I build custom GPTs and share them a certain link, and then we refresh the link regularly just to protect data. But it's not super sensitive data either.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to do it. Just refresh the link. Yeah.
Yeah, and that saves a lot of resources on having a specialized chatbot or something like that. If you can keep it simple. Again, another thing to consider is if you're wanting to monitor the chats that they're having, you don't have access to that. So it could be a pro or con in your case. So there's all those things to consider.
Can I just ask one more question on that? Previously, when I've tried to create a custom GPT, I think there was limited to about 20 upload documents.
Okay.
Is that still the case, or do I need to upgrade to a bigger plan?
What plan are you currently on?
The $20 a month.
I've got a Teams account, so that's minimum $60 a month if you pay monthly. We'd have to ask. I'm just asking ChatGPT now. What is the maximum?
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head.
On that note, John, you could have 2 GPTs built, and I don't know how many SOPs you've got either.
Like we're releasing them all the time, so there could be 100.
Okay. You could consider putting multiple SOPs in one PDF and uploading it like that.
Yeah, true.
And what I would do there is have a visual index that people could look at, like a menu, an index, and so what's stored in that custom GPT.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I love this stuff. So what you could do in the instructions is have the index uploaded into the GPT, and then every time it gives an answer, you can instruct the GPT to say, this has been referenced from this document here. And that's a way to support quality control within reason.
Okay. Yeah, it's a great idea.
So I would reverse engineer the process. So I'd go into, you can use my Pocket Prompt Coach, go and say, hey, I've built an SOP GPT. I need to create a set of instructions for this. I'd like you to review it, the documents that I've uploaded, and put it in a way that is foolproof. Every output must have a disclosure statement. This was created with AI. Check the SOP index. Maybe it's on a drive or something like that on a cloud. And so that way you're covering your ass from the SOP perspective.
Yeah, I love it. That's awesome. Thank you.
Oh, that's okay.
Awesome. Any other questions before we finish up? Cool. Have a great day, everyone. I know we unpacked a lot of stuff there. You know, if you have any questions afterwards about setting anything up, feel free to reach out. Happy to help. They're all really cool features that, you know, can add a lot of value to the business. So, yeah, jump in, have a play. Like with most AI, you know, it's all about just getting in and having a go. Like, have a play around with it. You can't break it. So, yeah, have a great Friday and have a great weekend. See you, everyone.
Thanks,
See you guys.
Matt.
See you.
Yep.